Hare Krishna. So, a very warm welcome to all of you to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class on a very qualified topic by a very unqualified speaker. Why unqualified? Because some devotees in this audience are doing Bhakti Vaibhav, some are doing Bhakti Vedanta, and I'm not even Bhakti Shastri. So who am I to speak in front of scholars like Govinda Prabhu? Okay, but few days back Govinda Prabhu was telling in one of his classes that Anant Achyuta seems to have surpassed me in terms of shlokas. Somehow, Prabhuji, generally I'm in agreement with you in most of your statements, but here I completely disagree. You will always remain my senior, I'll always remain your junior, and I'm more than happy to be in that position life after life. If somehow, by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, after a few lifetimes, I end up reaching the spiritual world, when I see Krishna over there, first thing I'll do is, I'll offer my obeisances, and second thing I'll probably do is, I'll offer some prayers. I'll glorify Krishna. Which prayer I'll offer, I'm not sure. Maybe, Naumidyate brava pushe tadidambaraya kunjavatam cha paripich. This is from the 14th chapter of the 10th canto. Shri Shri Radha Gokulanand ki, Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki. This is from the 14th chapter of the 10th canto, Brahma's prayers. So, if after that, Krishna goes on to ask, who was your inspiration for verses? So I'll take 3 names, and one of the names will be yours, Prabhuji. So, thank you so much for being so exemplary. I'll tell later. So, yes, and not only Prabhuji, so many wonderful devotees are here in the audience. Some devotees, before they come to Mangalarti, they do good amount of book reading upstairs. Some devotees are here who, on the festival days, I don't see their hand out of their bead bag, So yes, please bless me that I can speak something relevant for your divine pleasure and for my own purification. So this is a very technical section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, very philosophical, very jnani type. And some devotees, they think that this section is not so important. It can be skipped because if we read this too much, then what will happen? We'll end up becoming a jnani. And we are not here to become a jnani. We are here to become a bhakta. But somehow, I disagree with such statements. We are here to become jnanis. Why? Because in life, we have 2 options. Either we become jnani or we remain a jnani. A jnani means an uneducated fool. And jnani means knowledgeable person. So knowledge needs to be cultivated. Knowledge needs to be assimilated. There's a reason why Sri Ishopanishad says, Vidyam cha avidyam cha yaha tad veda ubhayam saha. Vidya means knowledge, and knowledge needs to be cultivated. There's a reason why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni dagda karmanam tamahu panditam buddhaha. This is from the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. There's another verse in the same chapter. Krishna is telling, Yathai dhamsi samidvagnir bhasmasat kurute arjuna jnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute yatha. Krishna is telling Arjuna that just like blazing fire turns firewood into ashes, similarly, the fire of knowledge turns the reactions of material activities into ashes. So knowledge is important. It needs to be cultivated. Few months back, Bhanu Maharaj was here at Bhakti Vedanta Manor. So he spoke twice in his classes. He said, for prema, we need jnana. We cannot get prema without jnana, without knowledge. So I asked the question, Maharaj, you are saying this, that for prema we need jnana, but so many times devotees, they criticize jnana. They say, nothing happens by reading Shastra. Nothing happens by memorizing verses. Nothing happens by cultivating knowledge. Realization, Prabhu, Realization is the main thing. And the reference which they quote is that famous verse from the 10th canto. Jnane prayasam udapase namanta eva. So Mahat said, Prabhu, the Gyan which has been talked about in this verse, that is the speculative Gyan, the speculative knowledge. That needs to be thrown away. But the Gyan of Bhagavatam, the knowledge of Bhagavatam, that needs to be cultivated. Right? Our process begins with Shravanam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. Shravana means what? We are cultivating knowledge, right? So yes, realization is important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that realization is not important. But how does realization come? When we read Shastra, we get information. From information comes understanding. From understanding comes realization. And when we have realization, we form an opinion. So if we don't have information in the first place, what will we realize? The definition of the term realization itself is, we have some existing theoretical statement and we verify it by experience, right? So if we don't read Shastra, what will we realize? Prabhupada writes in the purport of 1st canto, 4th chapter, text 1, that realization should always be in alignment with the Shastra. Then you can call it realization. So, and yes, so therefore, knowledge is important. And if we have knowledge, then we can render so much services, so many services. We can do so much of preaching. Once Urmila Mataji was sharing that in the beginning days of ISKCON, somehow she didn't get much opportunity to do services. Why? Because at that time there was a perception that the Grihasthas are all fallen, they are all in Maya. This is a very wrong conception. Grihastha ashram is a glorious ashram. So glorious that one reason why I entered Brahmachari ashram was that I was not prepared to enter Grihastha ashram. I had to take some training, So I can give a 1-hour class on the glories of Grihastha ashram. It is glorious because it is an ashram, right? So, but somehow that was the perception back in those days. So because she was not allowed to do any service, the only thing she could do was read Prabhupada's books and hear Prabhupada's classes. So every day she used to do 3 to 4 hours of hearing, 3 to 4 hours of reading. But as a result, what happened? A few years later, she ended up becoming the chairperson of the Shastric Advisory Committee. This is the committee which gives advice to GBC. So just imagine. So if we have knowledge, we can do so much seva, so much of preaching. And if we don't cultivate knowledge, then what will happen? Then our mati, our mind will not get fixed in Krishna. Our mind will not be absorbed in Krishna. Once I was giving a class on a similar technical topic. So one person in between, he asked, Prabhuji, I don't understand why you people in ISKCON, you don't talk about Krishna's pastime from the 10th canto. What's wrong? And even if you people discuss some of his pastimes, you people never discuss Rasa Leela. What's wrong with Rasa Leela? I said, yes, you are right. Nothing wrong with Rasa Leela. Nothing wrong with that. But you might be qualified to listen to it. Somehow, I'm not qualified to narrate it. So therefore, I dismissed the question like this. But after a few minutes, he asked another question, which was on the same lines. So I said, you seem to be really interested in Rasa Leela, right? So what to talk about discussing Rasa Leela? Let me give you a service directly within Rasa Leela, in this body. So you ready? He became excited. He said, yes. So I said, okay, your service is that you have to come to Mangal Aarti every day from tomorrow onwards. That's your service. So he was like, how is coming to Mangal Aarti service in Rasa Leela? So I told him that Mangal Aarti time is a time of separation of Radha and Krishna after their Rasa dance pastimes. So when we sing in the early morning hours, we sing with an intention to ease out their separation. The morning raga, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ra. I'm not such a good singer, but some devotees, they sing so beautifully, so wonderfully, that you can feel that two people are being separated and an attempt is being made to reduce their pain of separation, to ease out their separation. No problem, Radha Gokulananda, it's okay. Don't worry, tonight you'll be meeting again. So it's a very devotional thing. Last year, when my spiritual master had disappeared from this planet, I used to listen to this tune, this melody quite often, and it helped me to some extent. So, yes, so after this, did that devotee start coming to Mangal Aarti? No. Why? Because the mind was not absorbed in Krishna. So if the mind is not absorbed in Krishna, then mind will be absorbed in Maya. Mind will be absorbed in sense gratification. Then what we'll do, we'll look for pleasure in matter. We'll look for happiness in matter. Matter cannot give us happiness. This matter, it cannot give us happiness. And if somebody says, no Prabhuji, matter does give me happiness. This Apple laptop, MacBook Pro, it does give me happiness. Then just imagine how low that person's consciousness is, that a box of steel is sufficient to give him happiness. Right? Few days back in a class I was telling, right? Happiness is not a product of gratification. Generally we think this, right? That happiness is a product of sense gratification. No. Happiness is not a product of gratification. Rather, it's a byproduct of dedication. Dedication to Krishna. And how do we get that dedication? By reading Shastra. I'm not saying this, Kaviraj Goswami is saying this. Siddhanta valiya chittana kara alas, iha haite Krishna lage sudrida manas. Ladies and gentlemen, Kaviraj Goswami is telling his readers, please don't be lazy. Please don't exhibit laziness while reading Shastra. Why? Because if you do so, then your mati will not get fixed up in Krishna. Sudrida manas, your mind will not become sudrida. It will not become fixed up in Krishna. It will not become absorbed in Krishna. So, yes, that's very important. So now somebody may ask that, okay, reading Shastra is important, but why such topics, Srishti Leela, Annihilation Leela, why these things have been talked about in so much detail in different parts of Srimad Bhagavatam? And it's not that only we have this question, even Narad Muni had this question from Brahma in the second canto, that why it has been described that this is how creation happens, from Pradhan, Mahat Tattva comes, from Mahat Tattva, Ahankar comes, from Ahankar, three types of Ahankar, in the mode of goodness, in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance. From goodness comes the mind and the devatas, demigods. From passion comes intelligence and the working senses. From ignorance comes the Pancha Mahabhut. So why Vedic physics has been described in so much detail? I used to think that I'm giving up the physics of the outside world, and now I'm here, I'll be at peace. But here also I found, in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, my intelligence is being hammered like anything. Physics was anyhow one such subject, which gave me the toughest days of my life. Physics and French, these two subjects, very tough, especially French. It gave me such tough times that even till today, I sometimes make a phone call to my mother. I tell her, Mummy, I am not able to memorize this shloka. What are you doing? And I mean, what do I do? What did you do? So she is like, you are not able to memorize this shloka. What do I do out of that? So I tell her, you only asked me to take French when I was in my 6th grade, right? In my 6th grade, I was offered these 3 options: French, German, and Sanskrit. So you only asked me to take French. So why? Because of this 5 years during my school, I kept on doing Como Sava Bia Mercy. Because of this Sava Bia Mercy, I'm not able to get Krishna's mercy. So so tough, And one is this French and the other was physics. During my IIT exam, I was very confident about my chemistry and mathematics, but physics, very tough, So yes, so much detail. Fifth chapter, second canto. The Brahma, he uses the word avaya vaiha. Avaya means the limbs of the universal form. So this world is a manifestation of the limbs of the universal form. Universal form is also of two types. One is the material universal form, and the other one is the spiritual universal form. I'm using simple terms purposefully. So the spiritual universal form is the three Purush avatars: Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Shirodakshai Vishnu, and Karanodakshai Vishnu. Karanodakshai Vishnu is another name for Mahavishnu, and he lies down in the Karana Sagar, the causal ocean. And the Garbhodakshai Vishnu lies down in the Garbha Sagar, and Shirodakshai Vishnu lies down in the Shir Sagar. Right? This is spiritual universal form. There's a famous verse from Laghu Bhagavatamrita. I'm sure those of you who have read CC or who have read Prabhupada's books, you must have come across this. Vishnu Stutrini Rupani. Kaviraj Goswami, he quotes this verse twice in CC, and Prabhupada also quotes this a few times in his purports. So this says that the one who knows these three Vishnus, one who has knowledge about these three Vishnus, he becomes qualified to be freed from the clutches of Maya. All right? So this is the spiritual universal form, and the other one is the material universal form. This is the one which Krishna showed to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, and this is temporary, and from this material world emanates. Right? And it's not that only in the second canto, this second and third cantos, this universal form has been talked about. Discussions about universal form start from the very first canto. Anyone knows the chapter number? Which chapter of first canto talks about universal form? Chapter 3, the first 5 verses. Jagrihe Parusham Rupam, like that. So many places in Srimad Bhagavatam it will happen that these two types of universal forms, they'll be talked about together. So we need to be a bit careful. Like in the first chapter and the 10th chapter of second canto, I think, these two places, they have been talked about together. So just don't get confused, please be a bit careful. So now the original question, why has so much detail been given about these pastimes, Srishti Leela? Why is it important? Bhagavatam is supposed to be dharma projita kaita votra parmo nirmat saranam satam. All the kite of dharma is supposed to be kicked out of Bhagavatam. And this doesn't seem to be pure devotional service. Bhagavatam is supposed to give us Ashray Tattva. Bhagavatam is supposed to tell us about Krishna Prema. Sanatan Goswami says, Paramananda Pathaya Prema Varshaksharayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. Bhagavatam is Prema Varshaksharayate. Every syllable of Bhagavatam is capable of offering us Krishna Prema. So why so much detail? So the answer is very simple. What's the answer? Just like diamond is needed to cut another diamond. Just like poison is needed to cure a person who has accidentally administered poison. Just like a thorn is needed to take out thorn embedded in our foot. Similarly, Maya is needed to free a living entity from the clutches of Maya. I'm not saying this. This is what Lord Brahma is telling Narad Muni at the end of the 7th chapter, last verse. Lord Brahma knew that Narada is having this doubt, so he spoke this verse. What's the verse? Mayam varanayato mushya ishwarasyanumodataha shrunvataha shraddhaya nityam mayayatmana muhyati. Mayam varanayato mushya. Those people who listen or read the activities of the Supreme Lord with Maya, with his different energies, with Maya, who read this Srishti Leela of Krishna, annihilation Leela, maintenance Leela, who read about all this, what happens to them? Shrinvataha shraddhaya nityam. Those who give an oral reception, how? Shraddhaya, with shraddha, with faith, and nityam, regularly. What happens to them? Maya yatmana muhyati. They become free from the illusory energy of the Lord. They become free from Maya. So means what? Till the time we have attraction for Maya, we need to do this. We need to read this. It is painful, undoubtedly. Just like a thorn embedded in our foot is painful, right? And the process of taking out that thorn with the help of another thorn is even more painful. Similarly, sometimes devotees come, Prabhuji, earlier outside in the material world I was anyhow miserable, but after coming to Krishna consciousness I become even more miserable. This akarma, vikarma, sakarma, so much confusion, I think I was better off earlier. So congratulations. If you are thinking like this, you are on the right track. Because this is how it works. This process is painful. But we need to do it till the time we get free from Maya. And once we are free, then we can, bindas, we can discuss. Yatte sujata charanam burham staneshu vita shane priyadadhi mahi karkasheshu tenatavim vatasi tadvyathate na kim swid kurpadi bhir brahmati dhir bhavadayusham naha. This is a very wonderful verse from the 10th canto. This talks about the dealings of Krishna with the gopis, And this verse is so important that Kaviraj Goswami quotes it 4 times in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's another verse. Nayam Shriyanga Nitantarateha Prasadaha Swaryo Shitam Nalina Gandarucham Kutonyah Rasotsavesya Bhujadanda Grihita Kantha Labdha Shisham Yaudagad Vrajasundarinam. This is also from the 10th canto. This also talks about the dealings of gopis and Krishna. And this also has been mentioned 4 times in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it's not that we cannot discuss these verses now, we can discuss. But along with these, we should also discuss such technical, philosophical topics. Right? So, yes. And one thing we need to be careful of while cultivating knowledge is false pride. Because false pride is something which can very easily, by which we can be easily affected if we are too knowledgeable. So nothing wrong with knowledge. What is problematic is false pride. When I was joining the ashram, I was going to my different seniors for blessings. So all of them gave very wonderful instructions. So one of the instructions which I got was, never think that you have become so knowledgeable that you can miss Bhagavatam classes. So, yeah. Kunti Maharani says, Janmaishwarya Shruta. Shruta means knowledge. So it can lead to false pride. Very wonderful example of this comes in 10th canto. What was his name? Son of disciple of Vyasa. Romaharshana Sutta. Right? Romaharshana Sutta, he thought that he's a very cool guy. Lord Balaram, he arrived at the scene where Katha was going on. All the sages, they stood up to offer respects. But Romaharshana Sutta, he kept sitting. So Lord Balaram, he said, Rishair Bhagavato Bhutva Shishya Dhitya Bahunicha Sa Itihasa Puranani Dharma Shastrani Sarvashaha Adantasya Vinitasya Vyatha Pandita Maninaha Na Gunaya Bhavanti Sma Natasyaiva Jitatmanaha. Rishair Bhagavato Bhutva. This Romaharshana Sutta, he is the disciple of the glorious Vyasadeva. Sa Itihasa Puranani. He has read all the Itihas, all the Puranas. Dharma Shastrani Sarvashaha. He has read all the Dharma Shastras. But Adantasya Avinitasya. This knowledge has not led to humility in him. His senses are uncontrolled. Adantasya Avinitasya Vyatha Pandita Maninaha. He falsely thinks himself to be a big pandit. And as a result, Na Gunaya Bhavanti Sma. He has not cultivated any good qualities. Therefore, Natasyaiva Jitatmanaha. You are just like an actor on the stage because you have failed to control your mind. And this was the reason for his annihilation, for his destruction. Similarly, Ravana, he was also very learned scholar. He composed this famous Shiv Tandav Stotram. Jatatavi galat jala pravaha pavita sthale gale valambya lambitam bhujanga tunga malikam damad 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 daman ninad davad daman vayam chakara chanda tandavam tanotuna shivasham. He composed this, but he also met with destruction. So, yeah. Once one devotee from Vyasasan, because he was very puffed up, from Vyasasan he was making fun of people in the audience. He was speaking. There are 3 modes of material nature. It is because of the mode of ignorance that we people don't have taste in Shastra. It is because of mode of ignorance that we people feel sleepy during the class. See, this devotee is sleeping. This is a perfect example of mode of ignorance. So later on he got feedback. Prabhu, he was not sleeping because he is in mode of ignorance. He was sleeping because your class was boring. You did not prepare well enough. You did not make your presentation interesting. That's why. It's your fault. He did not drive 13 miles from his home to come here and sit and sleep. He came here to listen. Your class was flat. If your class is flat like a chapati, what will people do? They will sleep only, right? And don't think that those who are awake, they were awake because they were interested. They were awake because they had sufficient rest at night. So, yeah, making fun of Vaishnavas is probably the last thing which we should do in our life, So, insulting Vaishnavas, so inappropriate. Another devotee, because he was a very good preacher, very knowledgeable, so he once made a statement. This temple is surviving because of me. So inappropriate. This temple is surviving because, of course, I don't take such statements very seriously because we are trying to be a devotee. Our mind is yet to become a devotee. So, mind may propose such inappropriate thoughts, and by mistake, such statements might come out of somebody's mouth, right? So, until unless, till the time the person apologizes, it's okay. But yeah, this mindset that I am an expert class giver, I am a stud kirtaniya, I am a stud book distributor, I am a stud cook, stud pujari, I am stud this, stud that, So very inappropriate. This is not our philosophy. Our philosophy is Nicha dhamma pamar mui pamara swabhava morajiya ile tomar kiba habe labha. This is our philosophy. This is a verse spoken by Sanatan Goswami in the Antyalila 4th chapter. He is telling Lord Chaitanya, oh my Lord, I am Nicha, I am Adhama, I am Patit, I am lowborn, I am fallen, Pamar Mui, I am condemned, and on top of that, Pamara Swabhava, my behavior is also condemned. Mora Jia ile Tomar Kiba Habe Labha. What is the value of my existence to you? What value am I bringing to the table for your pastimes? Who is saying this? Sanatan Goswami. Who is he? He is Lavanga Manjari in the spiritual world. Who could be more useful in the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu than Sanatan Goswami? And he is saying this. Just imagine. So this is our philosophy. Because Sanatan Goswami knew that Lord Chaitanya, he is Purna. Om Purna Madaha Purna Midam Purnat Purna Mudachyate Purnasya Purna Madaya Purna Meva Vashishyate. He knew that Lord Chaitanya, if he wants to get something done, he can easily execute it through his energies. If we are getting an opportunity to serve him, it's our good fortune. It's his mercy that he is engaging us in his service. Otherwise, to think that the Lord is fortunate, Radha Gokulanand are fortunate to have me at manor, So, very inappropriate. So, what to talk of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya himself. Lord Chaitanya is someone who gave 61 explanations for the Atmaram verse, right? So this was the level of his knowledge. Of course, who am I to comment on Lord Chaitanya's knowledge? He is all knowledgeable. But still, for the sake of discussion, Lord Chaitanya, he gave 61 explanations for the Atmaram verse. But what was his mindset? What was his mood? Na prema gandosti darapi mehrau krandami saubhagya bharam prakashitam vanchi vilasya nanalokanam vina vibharmiyat prana patanga kanvritha. Lord Chaitanya is saying, Na prema gandosti darapi mehrau. I don't have prema even to the slightest extent. Darapi mehrau. What to talk of having prema? I don't have even the fragrance of prema. Na prema gandha. I don't have even the gandha of love for Krishna. Now someone might ask, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why are you saying like that? We have seen you so many times weeping while chanting Hare Krishna. To shed tears while chanting the holy names is a sign of prema, right? So why are you saying so? So in the next line he answers, Krandami saubhagya bharam prakashitum. This krandan, this crying which you people are seeing, there's nothing but show off. I am simply showing off how fortunate I am. So this is Lord Chaitanya. Who can have more love for Krishna than Lord Chaitanya? Right? It is said that Lord Chaitanya, when he used to have the darshan of Lord Jagannath in Jagannath Puri, Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki, it is said that Lord Chaitanya, when he used to have the darshan of Lord Jagannath in Puri, what's the verse? Ye kale dekhe Jagannath, Shri Ram Subhadra Satha, Tabe jane ai lama Kurukshetra. At that time, when having the darshan of Jagannath Baldev Subhadra in Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya, he used to feel, I have arrived in Kurukshetra. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to have the darshan from the Garuda Stambha, from the pillar of Garud Dev. What used to happen? Garudera sannidhane rahi kare darshane se aanander ki kahi babale. Garuda stambhera tale ache eka nimna khale se khala bharila ashru jale. Garudera sannidhane rahi kare darshane. While having the darshan of Lord Jagannath from the Garuda Stambha, the kind of bliss which Lord Chaitanya used to experience, Kaviraj Goswami is writing, I cannot describe that. Se aanander ki kahiba bale. And next to this Garuda Stambha was a ditch. This ditch was not so deep, but it was not so shallow. This ditch was filled with water. And where did this water come from? From the tears of Lord Chaitanya. So this was Lord Chaitanya. And he is saying, I don't have prema. I don't even have the fragrance of prema. So our philosophy is a philosophy of humility. There is no scope for arrogance in our philosophy. Sanatan Goswami, why was he so dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? One reason is this, he was humble. Once Lord Chaitanya, he was sitting with his intimate associates. Haridas Thakur was there, Rup Goswami was there, Sarup Damodar was there, and I think Ramananda Rai was also there. This is first chapter of Ante Leela. So all of a sudden, Lord Chaitanya started glorifying Rup Goswami. So Rup Goswami was also very dear, very, very dear to Lord Chaitanya. Priya Sarupe, Daita Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahajabhirupe, Nijan Rupe, Prabhureka Rupe, Tatan Rupe, Swavilasa Rupe. So Rup Goswami was also very dear. But at that time, when Lord Chaitanya was glorifying Rup Goswami, he spoke a verse. Ihar ye jeshtha bhrata nama sanatana prithvite vigyavara nahi tara sama tomar yaiche vishaye tyaga taiche tara riti dainya vairagya pandityera taha tei sthiti. Lord Chaitanya said, this Rup Goswami has an elder brother, Jeshtha Bhrata. And what's his name? Nama Sanatana. His name is Sanatan. And what's the speciality of the Sanatan? Prithavite Vigyavara Nahi Tara Sama. On this planet, there's no one more intelligent than him. Just imagine. Sanatan Goswami got the certificate of the most intelligent person on the planet. By whom? Not by Guinness Book of World Records. By the Supreme Lord himself. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the certificate to him. And why? Why did Lord Chaitanya think like this? Next verse gives the reason. Tomar yaiche vishaya tyaga taiche tarariti dainya vairagya pandityera. He has three qualities. One is dainya, humility. Second is renunciation. And third is panditya. He has knowledge. So knowledge needs to be cultivated. But it has to be clubbed with humility. Otherwise, better we become humble ourselves. Otherwise, Krishna knows how to fix us. Krishna made Brahma humble. Brahma, when he arrived at the door of Dwarka, the doorkeeper went inside and told Krishna that Brahma has arrived. So Krishna asked, which Brahma? So doorkeeper came outside and asked, which Brahma are you? So Brahma became a bit bewildered. So Brahma said, tell Krishna that I am the four-headed Brahma, the father of four Kumaras. Doorkeeper went inside. Krishna said, oh yes, let him in. Brahma came in. So Krishna said, hey, Brahma, very warm welcome. How come you are here? So Brahma said, I'll tell you my reason for arriving here later, but I have a question. What question? Kona Brahma puchile tumi kona abhipraya. Ama bai jagate ara kona Brahma hai. You asked kona Brahma, which Brahma? What do you mean by this? Is there any other Brahma also in this creation? So when he asked this, Krishna, he smiled and started meditating. All of a sudden, something interesting happened. Dasha Bisha Shata Sahasra Ayuta Laksha Vadana Kotyar Buddha Mukhe Karona Yaya Ganana. All of a sudden, many Brahmas arrived at the scene. Some of those Brahmas had 10 heads. Some of them had 20. Some of them had 1,000 heads. Some of them had 100,000 heads. Some of them had 1,000,000 heads. And some of them had heads even more than that. And not only Brahma. Rudra Gana Aila Laksha Koti Vadana. Indra Gana Aila Laksha Koti Nayana. Many Rudras also arrived at the scene. Lord Shiva is known to have 5 heads, right? But that's Lord Shiva only of this universe. The Shivas who arrived there, some of them had 100,000 heads. Some of them had 1,000,000 heads. And some of them even more than that. Similarly, Indra. And what were these Brahmas doing? Asi Saba Brahma Krishna Pada Pitha Age. Dandvata Karite Mukuta Pada Pitha Lage. All these Brahmas, they started to offer obeisances to Krishna. And when this four-headed Brahma, he saw this, he started trembling out of fear. Dekhi Chaturmukha Brahma Fapara Haila Hasti Gane Madhya Yena Shashakara Hila. Just like if you place a rabbit in the midst of big-sized elephants, what will happen to it? It will become fearful, right? It will start trembling. So similarly, this Brahma, he started trembling out of fear. So if Krishna can make Brahma humble, who are we? So better we take a humble stand ourselves, So, yeah, this is what will please Lord Chaitanya. This is what will please Krishna. Why Sanatana Goswami gave so much pleasure to Lord Chaitanya? Because of his behavior, because he was humble. This term, Ananda Apar, immense pleasure. This term comes 2-3 times for Sanatana Goswami in the pages of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sanatanera Vairagya Prabhura Ananda Apar. Bhota Kambala Pane Prabhu Chahe Bara Bar. By the behavior of Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya got immense pleasure. Immense pleasure. So yes. So if we want to do so, we also should take to this behavior.